Hey guys, welcome to Broken Arrow. Today we're going to be talking about making a leather washer handle. These are some of the supplies you're going to need. These are some of the basic things. This is a dagger a friend gave me. Had no handle. It's a very nice Boker, high quality knife. First thing I'm going to do is measure out the width. Fortunately for me, the size of my ruler is the perfect width for my leather washers, so that's what I'm going to use. So what I do here is I'm just going to lay the ruler over my leather, and I'm going to cut it with my leather cutter razor wheel that I have here. You can buy these things for about $13 at Hobby Lobby. Work really good with cutting leather. All right, now that I'm done with that, I'm going to have to measure out the actual width that I need to make these washers. And mark them out. You want to be very careful not to mark them out too thin and leave yourself plenty of leather to work with, because you're just going to grind most of it off later. All right, now that we have all of our pieces cut, I stacked them on top of the handle just to be sure that I had enough of them. Now for the really hard part in cutting the centers out of them to actually fit over the blade. That takes quite some time, so I did not feel myself cutting those, but as you can see, I've got them all cut now and placed on the handle. Now that I know that they're going to fit right, I'm going to take them all off and get ready to glue them on. I have the Gorilla Glue 2-part epoxy. This is the 5-minute epoxy. So you have to work fairly quickly with this and make sure you mix those two agents together extremely well. I really suggest you get yourself some nylon gloves, something like that to work with. I didn't have gloves, and I spent about 2 days cleaning the epoxy off my fingers. You want to make sure you have a good even coat of the epoxy all over your piece of leather. And like I said, you're going to have to work fairly quickly because this is 5-minute epoxy. Sometimes it helps to take a pen or something with a sharp edge and press all of those air bubbles out, making sure you don't have too much space in between those washers. All right, now that we have them all stacked, we need to make sure all of the air bubbles and air gaps are out of them. So I'm going to use these 2 clamps. These little clamps come in very handy. They're only $1 a piece at Harbor Freight. So I have found many uses for them. And once it's dried, you just take your large block of leather washers and start sanding them down to the shape you want them to be. So once those are shaved down, I have a little end cap that I want to make out of a piece of burley maple. I don't have a Mortison bit for my drill press, so I'm going to have to take just a round drill bit and kind of work with what I have to create the butt of the dagger. All right, you want to make sure that once that is drilled out nice to where the end piece goes down into that piece of wood, you want to make sure you epoxy that as well and clamp it down. All right, after my heavy sanding is done with my belt sander, I go in and I hand sand the rest of it, working my way down in grit, of course. Well, up in grit, I mean. All right, once I have the shape that I want, I'm going to sand it down, polish it a little bit, and then apply a nice coat of linseed oil. You want to make sure that you oil the handle good because this is a leather handle washer, and what this does is that oil gets down in there. It helps keep water from affecting the leather, because if you allow water to affect the leather, it'll start to rot. All right, guys, and that's it. That's a real quick down and dirty lesson on making a leather washer handle. All right, I hope you enjoyed it.